Hi everyone, I'm Rachel Tessman from stampyourartout.com. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Andover, Minnesota in the US. And today I'm bringing you a bonus online paper crafting class where I'm going to walk you through the steps of how to multiply the cards that you can get from one of the kits in our kits collection called By Your Side. When you assemble the kit as shown, you get 8 adorable greeting cards. There are actually 2 different styles, but you have choices. You can put dogs or cats on your card. And as with all our kits, the steps for creating those cards can be found within the direction sheet that's included in your kit, or by actually clicking on the QR code to access the how-to video. And when you assemble the cards as planned, you typically don't need to add any extra tools and supplies. The kits come with adhesive, the inks, the stamps, even a clear block if you're getting kits from the kits collection. Typically the only thing you need are like a pair of scissors, our paper snips. But I am going to do some altering, as I said. We are going to make 16 cards from the kit instead of just 8. So we're going to double the cards of the kit, which means we need a few sheets of extra cardstock and some envelopes to replace the ones that we're going to cut into. I will be using an extra ink pad, and of course we have some tools. For ease in demonstrating, I'll be substituting the small little ink pad for our larger one. I'll also be using our ergonomic blocks instead of the block that comes in the kit. And I'll be bringing in some additional adhesives such as our stamp and seal. I may even need to add extra dimensionals depending on how crazy I get with my kit, right? The tools and supplies that I'll be using are listed below, and they're linked to my online store. You can also look for links to accessing the kits in the kits collection, to my website where I share creative ideas weekly, not only with kits but with other fabulous Stampin' Up! Product, and a link to the actual post that this video is connected to so you can get the extra details and see photos of the finished cards and all of that sort of thing. And if you do end up enjoying what I share, please give me the thumbs up, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel. It helps out with the algorithms and all of that stuff, and and share with a friend. All right, for this kit, I've already used 1/4 of the supplies. So, and actually I messed up on one of my card bases. So I have 3/4 of the supplies left. We're gonna grab 2 of the envelopes. We're gonna grab 2 of the card bases. We're gonna grab 2 of these layer pieces. 2 of these like sentiment labels. We're going to grab 3 of the heart stickers, and we want 1 of each of the animals. So you get plenty of animal die cuts in the kit. We're going to grab 1 of each of these, because that way, again, if you're a cat lover or a dog lover, if you are passionate about one more so than the other, you can make your cards all dog cards or all cat cards. We'll put the rest of those supplies away. We could be making lots with them, but these are the supplies that you would need if you were going to make 2 of the kit cards. Remember, there's 2 different styles, and on this cover, again, you can see the 2 different styles with cats or dogs, right? So there's this style and there's this style. We're taking the pieces from those 2 different cards, and we're going to make 4 from them during this video. So if you do that, if you apply that idea to all of your kit supplies, you can get 8 cards turned into 16 and double your kit. We need card bases. And so we'll grab our trimmer, and we're going to need, if you do all of your kit, you're going to need 8 sheets, 8 sheets of basic black cardstock, which will give you 16 card bases. For our demonstration, we just need 2. And then you're going to need 16 envelopes, but for our demonstration, again, we're making 4 cards, we just need 4. We're going to set the envelopes aside. If you want to, you can stamp them with some really cute paw prints, because there's a couple paw print images that come in the stamp set for that kit. Let's score both of these at the same time. We're going to use our light blade. We're bringing our cardstock up to the top of our trimmer, and our left edge is aligned with the 4 1/4 inch mark here. And then we're going to score by pressing our light blade across our cardstock, turn it in this direction, and now we're going to cut. We're going to use our dark blade for that. Our cardstock in this direction is 11 inches, so we want to position the left edge now at 5.5 inches. And we'll cut. We'll do that to our other piece. And now we have 4 card bases. So I've brought back our pile from our kit that we're going to work with, and I have my 4 card bases sitting up here. The first piece from our kit that we're going to work on is this one. We're going to trim it. We're going to trim it down to 4 1/8 inches right here. So you can see the 4-inch mark. We're going to go to 4 1/8. And then we're going to turn it around and we're going to cut at 4 inches. So we're really removing 1/8 of an inch from the top and the bottom. Here's that other 1/8, but it was attached to our other half. So we're going to use this piece. We're going to use one of the kitties. We'll use a label, and we'll use some stamps. We also need the envelope. Let me grab an envelope. We'll be using this envelope here, and you can see we have this nice decorative border along the bottom. Here's the top, and here's the bottom. Let's make use of that, and that's going to be our panel that goes on the inside of the card, because when you have a black card base, you don't have any place to write unless you have like a gel pen or something, right? So we want to put a panel on the inside. And to do that, we can get 2 panels from our envelope. Let's trim off this excess flap here, but don't throw it away because we're going to use that. And then we're going to turn this and we're going to cut open. So we're just going to trim. We're going to cut. We're going to move this folded edge here over the dark section of our channel of our trimmer. And we're going to open it up by cutting off just like a little sliver there, a 1/16 of an inch. And then we'll do the same thing to this side. And then we can take and open this up. And we actually have quite a lot of white cardstock now, or white paper. We're going to position this over our trimmer, and we're going to cut along the score line. It looks like I need to rotate my blade. Whenever you have a blade that doesn't cut sharply, especially on a score line, because I always position my blade and cut by pushing upward, I'm going to turn my blade the other direction, and I'm going to mark it with a little Sharpie marker here. Just putting a little dot on it to show I've already used the opposite side of it. And now I'm going to cut with this side instead. And hopefully, because this blade actually fell out of my trimmer, so I don't remember which side is the sharpest, but hopefully I'll be using the sharp side for the remainder of our cutting for our video here. And it's good to always clean out the little channel of your trimmer too, especially after you get all those little messed up edges, because your cutting blade wasn't that sharp. Okay, now let's go ahead and continue. Let's cut this in half, and it doesn't have to be cut in half perfectly. It's a little over 5.5 inches, so we're going to go to the 2 3/4 inch mark and then just go a little over that, and that should cut it in half pretty well so that you have a piece for each of the cards, the one that we're making now and then the next card. Let's get our stamps ready. Let's set that aside. I don't think I actually used that part in my cards this time. Let's mount our stamps. We want to have the paw prints. We want to have some words. For this card that we're making, we're going to use the one that's this one here. I'll always be by your side. I love that one. Okay, so our stamps over here. Put our trimmer aside for now. Let's grab our bone folder. This is not a necessary tool, but I do love having it because it can curl cardstock. It can make my creases nice and crisp. Alrighty, for the front of our card, we're going to add this directly to the front using our seal adhesive. And oops, I got a little bit of extra adhesive there on my grid paper. There, pulled it up. Oh, and check, make sure if you can see both sides of your card on one side or the other, that is going to be the back. I could barely see both sides, but we're going to flip it over, so there we go. And I think I want to have my, because you can turn it this way or you can turn it this way. And I keep looking over at my finished card, sorry. But I think I'm going to have it this way. And we'll add it to the front of our card so that it lines up with one of the side edges. And sometimes this happens where you have, you know, a slight excess. So you can just take your paper snips, which is why it's always good to have a paper snips ready. And you can just trim up that edge. You could also use your trimmer, but it's good to have a paper snips nearby. All right, the next step, let's stamp onto this label piece. And I'm going to grab my Stamp and Pierce mat. We'll mount our stamp onto our block, and we'll use the black ink. This is Tuxedo Memento Black ink, inking up our stamp. We're going to have the banner end positioned to the left, and we'll just hover and line it up and stamp. So that's ready. This is going to go on the inside, and instead of using black ink, we're going to use the color that comes in the kit. So we're using the Old Olive ink. And now we can take our, because we have a kitty, we're going to use the paw that looks more like a kitty paw. So we'll mount that, oops, onto our block, ink that up, and let me check my finished card. Oh yeah, that's how it goes. Okay, and we're going to stamp that down in this lower left corner. And then we're going to stamp onto the front of this piece here. So let's bring that over onto the side. And we're going to stamp some paw prints. We want one up in the corner. And then we want one down in this corner. And they could be rotated differently. It's up to you how you want to rotate them. And then I'm going to have one here. And that's going to peek above our sentiment piece. Let's close this and set it aside for now. Let's move those stamps off to the side for now. And bring in our pieces to add. So fun and so easy. This card is, this is probably the easiest card of all of them. Not that the other ones are hard, but you're going to love starting with this one. Okay, so we've got our kitty cat. And we've got our sentiment piece, and I'm just going to lay that there so I can kind of see where it's going to go. And then we're going to add our kitty so that it's sitting right above the reddish little line here. And now we can add this piece with a couple dimensionals. The dimensionals do come in your kit, and again, if you're dimensional happy and you like to use more than what I use, you may run out, but we do have dimensionals that you can access in the online store. And we'll just add that right there. And then this piece will go on the inside of the card. Super quick, super easy. For the pet lover friends you have, you're going to adore making this card. Let's grab from our kit supply pile again and prepare the supplies for our second card. For this next one, we're going to need this base piece. We're going to need the reddish layer. We're going to need the inside circle, the white, and we're going to need this adorable dog. Oh, we also need this. There we go. So we need 5 pieces from the kit. We're going to start with this one by trimming it to 4 inches. So we're cutting off the score line and that printed extra edge there. Okay, we'll let that sit. This will leave as is, and we're just going to trim it by hand, and I think that's it for cutting. Oh yeah, and then we'll also need this layer for the inside of our card. So let's set our trimmer off to the side. Let's grab our card base, fold it, give it a good crease, figure out what the front and the back is. This will be my front. I'm going to add this layer to the front. And we'll lay it like this so that we see a black edge on the 2 sides. And once again, if you need to, you can flip it over and trim off any excess. It doesn't seem to be sticking out as much on this one, so I'll leave that as is. This layer is going to get added next, and we're just going to add that straight with our seal adhesive. And we'll place it right here so that it is positioned edge to the edge of the grayish layer here. It's crumb cake, actually. It's a light version of crumb cake. And we see the same amount coming off the edge on each side. And now we're going to do some stamping. So we're going to take this oval and we're going to make it tall. And we will ink it up with our tuxedo black ink using the stamp that says Best Friends Forever. We're going to position that pretty much in the middle. We'll remove the hearts that are on this layer and we're going to add them using some glue. I'm just going to bring in my multi-purpose liquid glue that I've already transferred over to my precision tip bottle. And we'll add our large heart down here about 3/4 of an inch away from the words, and then our small heart up a little higher, right about there. We're going to create a card that is 2 layers of dimensionals thick, except the way we add our dimensionals is going to be sneaky, so that when we want to mail our card, it's really only 1 dimensional thick. So let's start by adding this layer, and we're going to add it with a dimensional in each corner. And actually, I think I'm going to cut this one. I'm going to cut it down. We'll use a 1/2 dimensional instead. We don't want it peeking out. So we'll set it right there. Okay, so this will get added next. This is actually scrap. We can set that aside. Okay, this is going to get added onto our card layer so that the crumb cake, that crumb cake-ish color here, is about the same distance on all 3 sides from the reddish layer. Is that Calypso Coral? I think it is. I should really look. Let's look at the colors. It says we have basic black, Cajun craze, that's the deep red, Calypso Coral, ta-da, copper clay, crumb cake, old olive, and petal pink. Alrighty. So now we're going to add our doggy and our sentiment piece. And our sentiment piece is going to go straight on with seal adhesive. And that is going to get shifted so that we can see the hearts, but it is centered top to bottom, just shifted to the left a bit, so that we still see these hearts over here. And that gives our dog some room to put his head, and he is going to be put up on dimensionals. So I'm going to put one on the back of his head, and it's going to separate him from this layer, but that dimensional right here is not over the top of this one down in the corner. So as long as we keep it here instead of over by his tongue, we should be okay, and the card should flatten down into 1 dimensional thick when it's time to put it in an envelope. There we go. Oh, he's so cute. On the inside, all we do is just add this, and I'm not stamping this one with the paw print because there's no olive color on the front, and so I decided to just eliminate it from the inside. But you could stamp it if you want to. Okay, that's our second card. Let's do the third. Let's grab from this pile up here again, and we're going to start with the envelope because we'll need the envelope again for both cards. So I'm going to trim off the top. This will be a test of our blade. Oh yeah, that's the sharp side. Okay, and let's open it up. These layers here you won't be using for the cards, but you could definitely use them for something else because it's a good sized piece of white paper. And then we have one for each of our cards. We'll be using this one. For this card, we'll be using this piece. We'll be using obviously an inside layer. The gray dog, one of our labels, and then these will go on the last card. Okay, let's grab our black card base. set these with this one. Oh, we have to cut into this one. Ah, sorry, I guess I have to cut one more time. Okay. For this one, we're going to trim at 4 inches. We're going to lay this out first. This is going to go on the front, like the other ones where we have a black border on the top and on the bottom that we can see. And then we're going to have this piece in the middle, and I think I have it positioned so that the oval is more squatty this time, because you can have it longer or taller. And I think I have it this way on the card. Yes, I do. And it's in the middle. This banner is going to come in through the middle top. It's going to come up a little higher like that, so that we have room for our dog, which is going to be down in here. So, and what is this for? This is for decoration on the front, but we're not going to deal with that quite yet. Right now what we want to do is we want to take our dog footprint and our ink, and we're going to stamp a paw print here, a paw print here, and one that appears in this upper corner. So if you have everything laid out, you can kind of move it off to the side. I think I need to re-ink my old olive ink pad. It's not as dark as it normally is. Okay, so after that's done, then we're going to deal with this piece. And this piece we're just going to cut in half, and we can do that with our scissors. And we're going to have one section of color coming in from this side and one section of color coming in from this side, just to add a little bit more decoration to it. So let's start with these 3 layers and adding them onto the green. This is going to be added with dimensionals. So if we add this with dimensionals right now, we just have to be careful not to put the dimensionals right under these edges here so that these pieces can slip underneath. So I'm going to flip that over, and I'm going to remember that that's where the piece is going to slip underneath. I'm going to add a dimensional here. And we'll just do one more. We'll do a skinny one up in the corner. So we have a good surrounding that will lift this panel up and off the card. I decided we might as well just re-ink our pad right now. This is a wonderful holder that I got from the Country Hive, and it holds my re-inkers. So I took my old olive re-inker, and you just squeeze like an eyedropper, and you make little tiny dots of ink, kind of disperse them throughout. But you have to help this along because these are not like the cloth pads where it just soaks right in. We have to kind of maneuver the ink. Our firm foam pads take a little bit more work. So after you've done that, then you just take a clear block and you start pushing the ink in. And as you do this, it kind of brings the ink and distributes it evenly on the surface of your ink pad. Then you just wipe off the block. Let's try that again. Let's just take and ink this up, and we'll stamp it on the back side here to see how we do. Oh gosh, much darker. I'm going to see if I can hover over the top of these off camera, because otherwise you're going to see the top of my head, and I'm going to try to make these darker. Wish me luck. Ta-da! Transformation. I didn't get them perfectly lined up, but yeah. That's what's nice about the clear stamps, is you can get pretty darn close. And I'm happy with that. Next time I'll just make sure that my ink pad is well inked. We're going to stamp this layer, and that's going to go on the inside of the card. Checking to see what the front and the back is. This can be the inside like that. It's a horizontal position card. There we have the inside. Let's fold this down, give it a good crease. And then this layer will get added. Oh wait, we can't add it. Oh yeah, we can. We can, because this is going to go right to the edge. So we can add this now to the front of our card, edge to edge. And then again, these are going to come in from the side, and they're just going to line up with the bottom of this light crumb cake piece. So I'm just going to add some seal. And we'll tuck this one here. And I'm pushing down on this corner so I can see where I need to stop this edge from going. And I think because I'm right-handed, it's going to be easier for me to do this on this side this way. I love how the envelope has that extra little circle in it so that you can, I'll show you here, you can stamp a little paw print on your envelopes. Super cute. Okay, we're almost there. We need to stamp this sentiment before adding it. So we will grab our black ink. And I'm using the one that says, "Here's to a true friend." You can really change out whatever wording you want to do. I mean, you don't have to even use the words that are in the kit, but they're awesome words. And so like this one could be best friends forever. It's up to you how you want to do that. This is going to get added with dimensionals just on the two ends because it already is raised here, so you don't necessarily have to raise up the middle. As I'm recording, you may have heard or may hear sounds in the background. My son is moving around the house trying to get ready for work. So I keep starting and stopping. Anyways, that's how we add that piece. And then this one here can get added with adhesive down in this section. So I can really put adhesive all the way through here, just straight on with the seal. And then if I want to, I can take and put a little bit of dimensional maybe behind his foot. And for that one, I'm going to cut it down to a half size again. And we will add that under his foot because that's the part that's going to be leaning off the edge over here. And oh, he looks so cute. There we go. And that is that card. All right, let's move on to the last card. The last card involves the remainder of the pieces. And we have these heart stickers. So for this one, let's grab our trimmer and let's cut this down. And because we have, you see this layer, this visual layer, I should say, that's over the top here, it's closer to the end here than it is here. So when we cut this, we just want to keep that in mind. Let me look at my original as I do this. Okay, so I think what I did is instead of cutting 1/4 of an inch off in this direction, I went back 1/16 of an inch. So we trim, and then, so that 1/4 of an inch that's missing a 1/16, we want to cut a 1/16 in here, but when you turn it around, it's just going to go right to the 4-inch mark. Do you see that? It's going right to that 4-inch mark, and that's going to remove that 1/16 of an inch up here. And now this layer looks a little bit more centered on the front. We're going to position it this way, so this is the base. So for this layer here, I'm going to use my grid paper lines as visual guides so that I know when I'm stamping my sentiment on here, I'm going to be using those lines to make sure that this is straight, because this here is going to distract me a bit. Let's grab our tuxedo ink, tuxedo black ink. Ink that up. We're using the one that says "You make my heart happy," and we're going to stamp that in the upper corner here, about 1 inch from the top and 1 inch in from the left. Then we're going to add this to the front of our card, just using seal so that we still have that same look that we've had on our other cards. Let's make sure that we've got this folded and that we know this is the front. Okay, so we can add that like this. And this will go on the inside. We're going to stamp it first with a little kitty paw. And I think, yep, this time I flipped it. I flipped it over this way just for a different look. And that will go this way on the inside. And then for our kitty, we're just going to put a few dimensionals on the back side to lift him or her up and create a shadow. And when we lay our kitty down, we want the back of our kitty to be parallel with the bottom of the card. So laying it down, keeping that in mind. I'm just looking off to the right to make sure I'm doing it similar. There we go. I think I had it up a little higher, like that. So it's still covering up that corner of the paper down there, but it's giving the illusion that the kitty is definitely lying flat instead of diagonal. We'll grab our stickers, and these are pretty easy to add without having any tool, but if you need to use like the take your pick tool to add them, you certainly could. And these are just getting added like that. That is finished too. So now I have 2 of each of those cards done. Crazy fun. Look at that. So I have half my kit done already. I have 2 sets. I have 8 cards done from half of the supplies. So I can use the other half of the supplies now again to make the other 8, and I'll end up with 16 cards. I hope that you enjoyed what I shared today. Remember to look in the description of the video so that you can see a list of supplies that I use, but also in that description is a link to my blog post. The post will then bring you to where you can see photos, you can see the measurements, you can see a visual supply list, and all of that. The video is also embedded there, so you can see all of that right within my blog post. You can visit my website at stampyourartout.com, and you can see all kinds of fun paper crafting ideas, including other kits that I've done alternates with the kits collection. Thanks so much for visiting today. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for thumbs up. Thanks for subscribing, commenting, all of that fun stuff. I really, really, really appreciate it. In the meantime, have a great rest of your week. And now I'd like you all to go and stamp your art out. Bye-bye.